Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another little case of Ag Uncensored with the podcast and the pickup. Half the time, I've found that when I do these in here during the summer, at least the winter not a problem, but the summer, sometimes my thing gets too hot and it doesn't actually finish, and it shuts down. My phone does, and I have to re-record it. But it's a little cooler day. Things are getting nice and fall-like. Um, where the mornings are crisp, the night is cold, and the day is, it's just a nice day. It's harvest weather. It's a fun time of year. Um, so as I was sitting here thinking, it's like, okay, what the heck to talk about today? Well, I'm gonna try to I'm gonna really try to make this a little shorter because even sometimes I think 30 minutes is a lot. So here we go. What I wanted to talk about was what does the ag tech industry do right now? Because ag in as a whole is in a weird spot. From policy to politics to markets, there's a huge crap coming apparently. Prices, uh, costs, all sorts of fun stuff. Uh, there's always something going on that causes problems in agriculture. There's always is. It's just how it works. But what I'm gathering more and more, talking with people, especially in the tech side, because of course that's me, is where are we at and what the hell do we do? Because of all this just chaos. It seems more chaotic than it has in a long time. There at least, even when there was maybe, kind of, bad ag year, and I know this, it differs throughout the world too. So depending on where you're at and where you're listening, that's going to change. Uh, but here, in past years, there was still like, at least investment money coming in, or there was people buying groups because they had the extra cash from the good years. Like now it's like weird. People are, people are letting people go. Groups are holding back. They're being a little more conservative. Budgets are tight. Hiring is weird. Um, even myself. Yeah, I'm dabbling, looking into some other things while, trying to think of some of my own things to do. And, even the feelers myself, there are, there are concerns by a lot on just where things are going. A lot of restructuring. So as I've talked about before, to a point, is now is the time, you really think about what you're doing. You really concentrate on the customers you do have to make sure they're happy and don't leave, or maybe even expand because you've built up that kind of trust and ability and showcase of what you can do, how you can help. So for at least like the tech companies out there that are doing stuff in the field, algorithms and agronomy type stuff, your stuff's got to work. And if it does work, you have to show everybody that it works. Now, how do you do that? Sometimes that can be really tough. There's a lot of nuance in how all this stuff works. Sometimes it maybe can work, but with the ag economy right now, people might be like, well, it's something I could cut back because it wasn't like a eureka moment. As I've stated before, a lot of the money to be made in ag is really based on how the weather treats you and then how you market your crop from there and how you can market it. There's clearly a lot of other pieces in the puzzle there. Uh, but that's what's on the minds. And for businesses too, those things are affecting them. And of course, then you throw in tariffs and all that fun stuff and you get it makes it hard. Like up here, a lot of soybeans. I think we're the second largest producer of soybeans state-wise, something like that, two or three. We ship a lot of our stuff traditionally to Canada, or not to Canada, sorry, China. Well, that's a thing. That's a an issue. Uh, People don't want those government checks either. They just want a good open market. And of course, this is affecting down the tech side and how people want things. So, anyways, what do we do? Do you cut back? Do you shift focus? Do you build something new while you can because you're maybe on your last leg? Do you try to find weird money? Do you try to find, you know, some other mechanism, consolidate with somebody, merge with somebody, sell for cheap to somebody so you can just save face? I mean, in all reality, all of those options are things and might be warranted depending on where you're at. I cannot really focus maybe on one exact thing. Though the from all the ups and downs I've seen throughout the years and been involved with, if there's one thing that kind of sticks out is you need to talk to other people that are in your industry. You're not alone. There are other AgTech companies that are going through the same problems. They're worried, they're concerned. Um, they feel maybe forgotten by their potential clients or customers. Um, one thing I've heard is, yeah, those conversations are just not happening in the same way because it's just like, yeah, all this sounds great, but we just know the budget's just not going to happen. We're just kind of holding down. So you might be left twiddling your little thumbs here, saying, "What the hell do I do?" Well, when these times happened in the past, what seemed to happen, and this kind of was happening at Tech Hub Live a month or so ago, and kind of seen it in some other realms, is we have to talk more within our industry. And whether that forms, partnerships or just collaboration, or maybe it does form some mechanism for something bigger, merger, buyout, or something, or helping hand, because some are better in better positions than others. What we can't do is shut each other out and say, "Oh, I'm gonna get you." It's like there's plenty to go around. So maybe it's finding another group or another few groups and say, can we all work together to help each other to have a better story, a bigger story, something that is a little bit more appealing, that at least for those potential clients or even current customers, it raises their eyebrows. They're like, okay, now this is different. A little more brain power, a little more tech power, a little more just um, more options. I think that is where we're at. It's We can't worry about competition right now because of what the space is. And I've seen this happen before. Like I said, this is what has happened is you find unique ways to work with others. And that's going to be all over the board depending how you fit where you are. But as I've said before, when times get tough, now's the time to build. And technically it is. Because if you got at least some time frame, at least you can, if no one's buying right now or not as many, like, yeah, put some more time into that, because when things change, you need to be ready. But it's also time to build unique partnerships, or at least relationships, whether it turns into a business deal or not. um that's okay. At least you can understand the other person and you can kind of fight for each other on the side. And it's like, maybe it's a group that doesn't do what you do, but there's some similarities. It's like, well, they do it this way, and help them out, and this way and that way. These things work. Gotta get the rat dogs here quick. Get those puppies in the shot. Just clean my pickup. This we're gonna make it all dirty. But to that point, though, that's what I've always found kind of happens. Maybe it happens naturally. Maybe it's our only option, our only last resort, and that might be accurate because for some it is. But I can tell you, not doing nothing is clearly not going to work. Doing the same old thing isn't going to work. You have to mix it up a little bit. Now, can I throw some examples of what that could look like? I'll see what I can do here. So, for all those going after, I mean, a lot of people do this, going after ag retail, per se. Um, right now, they're in a perplexing spot uh, because they sell some of the largest expenses. You know, seed, chemical, fertilizer, fuel, uh, and then you're selling your grain through them, so they might be holding it. The big purchases. What I'm hearing more and more is they they've been cutting back on pushing agronomy services. So a lot of times they don't make a lot of money. They're just kind of like this necessary support mechanism to sell more seed, chemical, fertilizer, or to manage that process better. And then there's some poor farmers that just have to have it. They want it, and so they provide it out there. It helps facilitate other things, so it's not necessarily a loss leader. It can be though. It's kind of just like that necessary service to do so the other things work. Well, feed into that. There's what that means to you. I don't know, but maybe it's saying, okay, we have this separate product. Like, hey, can we help target those just the growers for you that are just they have to use more tech. Yeah, it's your top 5%, but they bleed it. So can we just work with them to give them an extra edge and if we sell to them, can we give you a kickback or something? Maybe traditionally haven't done that. You just sell to the ag retailer and they use the product and then they make the service or something. Maybe it's saying because they don't want to risk that relationship directly with the farmer because of everything's tight, saying, well, can you kind of be an agent for me to so I can talk to them? So maybe I do something direct. We kind of it's like a pilot of you helping me without you having to spend any money, but you're at least getting me to those clients to do something. That can work. Depending on what you do. One example. Maybe it's something, with maybe you're a biological group sitting there and you're like, oh, geez, there's like 1,000 of us plus. How do I differentiate myself? There's so many. Uh, that could be a similar case. Maybe it's taking that, if you've had success, taking those growers that you've had success, and I don't know, it's kind of like showcase them around, make them feel special and tell everybody about it. Uh, get more of, if it worked for them, it's possible and likely that in their region locality that it could work for others. So maybe you can make them, kind of a sales agent for you in a sense. Be like, hey, anything you sell with this and you talk to your friends, you get like 25% because of the product sale because you will. those things work for farmers, especially when the economy is tight. I know when my dad was young farmer and I was really young, he sold sunflower seed, and that was kind of what happened is the the sunflower groups were just trying to find more farmers to buy their seeds, so they gave really good commissions to farmers that knew how to grow it and that liked the brand. While traditionally, sure, some farmers are doing kind of both already. There's plenty of them. If you're that type of product and they are a good client, yeah, give them something different. Give them a little piece of the pie, saying, "Hey, if you go out there and do this, and uh, we'll get you a kickback." Yeah, you're not going to get as much revenue as you wanted, traditionally thought you were, but something's better than nothing. And if you get some new clients and a local person that kind of supports that process, well, hey, there you go. I could go on and on. You have to think outside of the box. It's partnering with clients different. It's building new relationships with maybe former foes, or maybe not even foes, but groups that you've generally competed with. It's like, hey, how can we work together where I'm at? Because that other AgTech group is, located, in the I states, yet they're trying to do some stuff in the Dakotas, or vice versa. It's like, hey, how can I work with them? How can I give them something unique? And how can we just at least build a friendship, partnership? What can we try? You got to explore. You got to find a new world out there. Could make a Disney movie off of it, maybe. They could all bring your princess in and save her from, your company might be the princess, and you're like, save her from the evil villain, which is the ag economy politicians or something. I don't know. Whatever. You can call it what you want. But regardless, you have to think that way. If you're just sticking to exactly what you do, oh, you're gonna have a tough time. You just will. Sorry, tough shit. It's gonna be tougher for you because the you just you're almost kind of giving up on yourself if you just stay the course. Unless the course is working. If the course is working, great. Yeah, keep the course going, and don't deviate probably much. If it's working, good for you. Keep going. And there are some that is the truth right now. Many it's not. So try something different. Don't be afraid. What do you got to lose? Um, I'm trying to do that in some of my world. From my little side hustle boundary to even some of the business things I'm thinking of, even the open FMIS thing. Like it's a concept. I could kind of morph it into a lot of things, but I'm trying to challenge the thought process I maybe had even a few months ago, or maybe even a few weeks ago. You just got to constantly churn, because if you don't, it just doesn't work. So I'll close out for now, but curious on what you're doing. That's maybe in that similar tone. Not saying exactly what I'm saying is perfect, but if you have a different approach that you're trying that's new, share it out there. Throw it on the boards on the newsletter so other people can see it. Say, hey, we're open to doing this or that. This is what I'm trying to kind of do is call out this. Maybe form a beacon on the light saying, hey, for all those searching out for other partnerships and wanting to do something, start here if you're scared, or repost it and say, we're trying to do it in this way. We're looking for these types of people. That's what I'm trying to do here, is trying to kind of create a place where people can say that message if that's what they're feeling. So my literal dogs are barking or whining for their food, their second helping. So I better get to them. But thanks for listening, and like and share and do all that fun stuff. And this one's a little different, so let's make this a little more interactive and get out there. And we'll talk to you later.